Answers from as far as the eye can see to as close as the ground you're spinning on. From science and literature to history, math, and beyond. This is Academic League.
We hope you are enjoying another season of Academic League action here on ITV. I'm Clark Anthony. It's always good to have you watching. We have two teams from the South Bay on this particular program from the Sweetwater Union High School District. It is Sweetwater High and Montgomery High. We will introduce the coaches and the participants, and then the questions will start flying. Meg, come on over here. Meg Garcia is a coach at Sweetwater High School. She is a graduate of Sweetwater, where her mom, Virginia Martinez, taught and coached for Academic League. Seemed like forever. She was definitely a legend.
That she was. So we dedicate this season to her. She passed away in June, and I'm very grateful to have her as a mom and as a coach.
Well, and she has touched a lot of lives along the way, so you should be proud of her. Meg has been coaching for 24 years herself, also taught for 23. Her subjects are AP Art History, and Art Appreciation, which is kind of sort of the same thing, I would think, in some ways. In fact, this summer, you're going to pursue that with world travel, I understand.
Absolutely. My son and I are going to go to Italy. It's my first time, and we're going to Athens and also in Paris. So it's an AP Art History teacher's dream trip, the best. Marvelous.
Well, and that's this year. And then next year, Sweetwater has quite a large anniversary coming up.
Absolutely. This is Sweetwater Centennial. We're celebrating our 100th year as Sweetwater High School, second oldest high school in the county, and we're very proud and excited about our year that's coming up.
Well, that's good. Much to look forward to. Would you introduce your starting lineup, please, left to right?
Thank you. I'd love to. Sitting in seat 1 is Audrey Vargas. Her favorite subject is science, and she's been very successful in science fair, winning sweepstakes this year and going to the state competition her freshman year. She's a member of our banner-winning cross-country team and trains as a boxer. Her dream school is Stanford, where she'd like to study to become a scientific researcher. In seat 2 is our rookie, Joey Olivares. His favorite subjects are history and geography. When he's not studying, he enjoys watching football and playing video games like Madden. His dream school is Cornell, where he hopes to attend and study to be a psychiatrist. In seat 3, our captain is Chi-Yu Xiong. He's a senior, and his favorite subjects are music, mythology, and literature. He's involved in Coding Club, which is a group that teaches elementary students how to code, and he loves to play piano. He's hoping to study chemical engineering at Stanford or Berkeley, and he would like to become a naval officer. In seat 4 is Dorothy Martinez. She's a senior. Favorite subjects are art history, U.S. history, and calculus. She's been dedicated to Quiz Bowl for 3 years, and when she's not on the buzzers, she enjoys baking and solving puzzles. She's hoping to attend UCLA to become a materials scientist or an academic researcher. And in seat 5 is Joseph Edgen, also a senior. His favorite subjects are U.S. history, engineering, and art history. He's been in our program for 4 years. He's the first sergeant in our school's MCJROTC unit and enjoys singing in his church's choir. He plans to study mechanical engineering or political science and to become a commissioned U.S. naval officer and possibly work as a diplomat.
Outstanding group of students with a lot of varied interests. Good luck to you and the team.
Thank you so much.
Take your spot over there. Come on over here. Sarah, come say hello. This is Sarah Mansfield. She is a coach at Montgomery High School. It is her 10th year as a teacher. She teaches geography and AP World History. It is her second year of coaching Academic League. I think your first time here, so welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
I understand that you call yourself a foodie who likes to travel, and she enjoys hiking. You have a couple of youngsters at home, right?
Not really youngsters, just I've one in college and one in high school.
You couldn't possibly be old enough for that. I'm sorry. I read that you had children, and I thought, well, they'd probably be about this big. Well, congratulations. What did they study?
My daughter's at Brown University studying public policy. And
one in high school?
One in high school at Olympian here in the Sweetwater District.
They keep you busy, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
You have quite a few juniors on your team, I guess, right?
Yes, 4 juniors and 1 senior.
All right. Would you introduce them left to right for us?
In seat 1, we have Ewan Toledo. He is grade 11, like I mentioned, and his favorite subjects are history, Spanish, and English. He's been participating in Academic League since 10th grade. He's also a participant in the Academic Decathlon. He's also part of the STEM Club, where he explores and investigates different topics relating to the environment. In the future, he hopes to attend a 4-year college university and aiming at earning at least a bachelor's degree, and he's not quite sure which career path to choose yet. In seat 2, we have Diana Vera. Her favorite subjects are biology and chemistry. She participates as a mentor for our after-school program called GRIT, and she enjoys playing the piano. Her career goals are to be an anesthesiologist and attend UCI or UCLA. In seat 3, we have Octavia Hinkle. She is our captain. It is also her second year as part of our team. Her favorite subject is American Sign Language, and her extracurricular activities, she enjoys cooking, dancing, and singing. She would like to pursue a career as an OBGYN at Spelman College and live in Atlanta, Georgia.
Page 2.
Page 2. In seat 4, we have Dante Hernandez. His favorite subjects are science, history, physical education, and lunch. Besides being in our academic league team, he's also on the swim and water polo teams. In his free time, he likes to draw, listen to music, play video games, and he likes to watch a lot of videos on topics like history, geography, and many other things because he's curious about knowing everything about the world. He has big plans for the future. He wants to be a car designer, energy entrepreneur, and a racing driver. He'd like to study mechanical engineering and later specialize in automotive engineering so he can design cars from the outside and the inside. He wants to place alternative energy in the mainstream for cars and in general, get gasoline out of the picture, and save our world. Lastly, he wants to be a racing driver. He's always found high-speed races and cool cars fascinating. He wants to create the first eco-friendly racing association in the world, a green NASCAR, if you will, but with more tracks besides just big donuts. And finally, we have Rosemary Kramlich, our star senior. Her favorite subject is U.S. history. She's active in our Montgomery Color Guard and has been for 4 years. She's also been captain of the Color Guard team for the last 2 years. She will be majoring in theater and is hoping to become an actress in a traveling theater company.
Exciting. I thought we had wandered off into car talk there for a minute, but that's also exciting.
It's extensive, yes. Thank you, Dante.
Good luck to you and the team. If you'd like to walk right behind the moderator and take your spot there at your chair, it's all yours. Let us introduce our moderator. It is Julia Anker. Julia is a teacher in her 5th year at Montgomery High School. She teaches AP Statistics and Integrated Math 3.1. She enjoys cooking, hiking, and swing dance, which we're hoping she will teach us during the timeouts in this match. Julia?
Okay, welcome Montgomery, are you ready? And Sweetwater, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, good luck. Let's begin. Toss-up. This philosopher suggested sapere aude, or dare to know, as a motto for the Enlightenment. He introduced his doctrine of transcendental idealism in a book that asks how synthetic a priori judgments are possible. For 10 points, name this German author of The Critique of Pure Reason. Sweetwater?
Emerson.
Incorrect.
Please repeat the question.
This philosopher suggested a sapere aude, or dare to know, as a motto for the Enlightenment. He introduced his doctrine of transcendental idealism in a book that asks how synthetic a priori judgments are possible. For 10 points, name this German author of The Critique of Pure Reason. Montgomery?
Nietzsche.
Incorrect. Kant. Toss-up. A president of this country was killed during the 10 tragic days. War broke out in this country after the long rule of Porfirio Diaz ended in 1911. The U.S. sent General John Pershing on a punitive expedition to, for 10 points, what country? The Sweetwater.
Mexico.
Correct. Bonus. In 1890, an act named for John Sherman required the government to purchase millions of ounces of this metal. For 10 points each, proponents of bimetallism wanted currency to be backed by both gold and what other precious metal?
Wave silver.
Correct. Silver-backed currency was part of the platform of this party, which ran James Weaver in the 1892 presidential election and later merged with the Democratic Party.
Democrats.
Merge with Republican. No. Merge with the Democrat Party. Populist.
Say Republican.
Populist. Populist.
Correct. In 1896, this Democratic candidate argued for bimetallism in the Cross of Gold speech.
It's a Democrat, right?
Yeah, Democrat president. Hayes?
McKinley.
McKinley?
He served around that time.
Wave defer to player 1.
Ryan.
Correct. 30 points. Toss-up. The northern part of this body includes the continent of Ishtar Terra, which contains the Maxwell Montes. Because of its dense atmosphere of mostly CO2, this planet has a strong greenhouse effect. The hottest planet in the solar system, Montgomery.
Venus.
Correct. Bonus. This structure deflects much of the solar wind. For 10 points each, name the structure whose polarity often reverses.
Nitrogen.
Earth's magnetic field. The Earth's magnetic field is thought to be generated by electric currents in the liquid outer portion of this layer of the Earth, whose inner portion is a solid.
Core.
Correct. Past reversals of the Earth's magnetic field are recorded in this broad class of rocks, examples of which include granite and basalt.
Igneous.
I think it's that.
Igneous.
Correct. 20 points. Okay. Toss-up. This country's Chief Justice David Moraga annulled the results of an August 2017 election in which the incumbent defeated opposition leader Raila Odinga. For 10 points, what East African country's first president, who took the name Jomo, was the father of its current leader, Uhuru Kenyatta. Sorry. Kenya. Toss-up. This character commands blow winds, and crack your cheeks as he rants during a storm that drenches him and his fool. He claims nothing will come of nothing before disinheriting his favorite daughter, Cordelia. For 10 points, name this monarch who goes mad in a Shakespearean tragedy. Sweetwater.
Lady Macbeth.
Incorrect.
Please read the question.
This character commands blow winds and crack your cheeks as he rants during a storm that drenches him and his fool. He claims nothing will come of nothing before disinheriting his favorite daughter, Cordelia. For 10 points, name this monarch who goes mad in a Shakespearean tragedy. Montgomery?
King Lear.
Correct. Bonus. For 10 points each, answer the following about risotto. Risotto is made by boiling this grain in a broth. China is the world's largest producer of this grain.
Wave. Rice.
Correct. A risotto recipe named for this capital of Lombardy calls for saffron to be added to the rice. This city is called the fashion capital of the world.
Paris.
No.
Milan.
Milan.
Wave. Milan.
Correct. A leaked email sent by this chair of Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign described how to make risotto with a creamy consistency.
Sour cream.
John Podesta. 20 points. Toss-up. This man's forces killed a group of Muslim pilgrims on the Miri while waging war against Calicut. This man's first voyage visited the cities of Malindi and Mombasa after departing from Lisbon in 1497. For 10 points, name this explorer who led the first Portuguese voyage to India. Sweetwater.
Da Gama?
Correct. Bonus. The current line of succession to the U.S. presidency was established in 1947. For 10 points each, the changes were signed into law by this man, who ascended to the presidency 2 years earlier upon the death of Franklin Roosevelt.
Truman.
Wave Truman.
Correct. The line of succession begins with the Vice President and Speaker of the House, followed by this Senate position, currently held by Orrin Hatch.
President pro tempore.
Wave defer to player 5.
President pro tempore.
Correct. The fifth person in line of succession, followed by the Secretary of State, is the holder of this cabinet position, currently held by Stephen Mnuchin.
Secretary of the Interior.
Wave defer to player 5.
Secretary of the Interior.
Incorrect. Secretary of the Treasury. 20 points. Toss-up. This city shares its name with a bay that receives the Hackensack River flows. The headquarters of Prudential are in this city that is the second most populous in the New York City metropolitan area. Cory Booker was once mayor of, for 10 points, what most populous city in New Jersey? Sweetwater?
Trenton.
Incorrect.
Please repeat the question.
This city shares its name with a bay that receives the Hackensack River flows. The headquarters of Prudential are in this city that is the second most populous in the New York City metropolitan area. Cory Booker was once the mayor of, for 10 points, what most populous city in New Jersey? Montgomery.
Atlantic City.
Incorrect. Newark. Toss-up. The therapy Kymria uses these cells with chimeric antigen receptors grafted onto them to treat leukemia. Some of these cells have a CD4 marker on their surfaces. They can be classified as helper or cytotoxic. Sweetwater.
T cells.
Correct. Bonus. Juliet Henderson is the protagonist of 3 of the stories in this author's collection, Runaway. For 10 points each, name this Nobel-winning author of short story collections like The Moons of Jupiter and Too Much Happiness.
Moons of Jupiter, too much happiness. Moons of Jupiter. Wait, no answer.
Alice Munro. Alice Munro is from this home country of the author of The Handmaid's Tale, Margaret Atwood.
Canada. Wait, for the player 4? Sorry.
Canada.
Correct. Alice Munro is also the name of a character in this James Fenimore Cooper novel whose title character, Uncas, rescues Alice's sister, Cora, with the help of Natty Bumppo.
Natty Bumpo. Wait, no answer.
The Last of the Mohicans, 10 points. Toss-up. This man stated, "I will not accept if nominated and will not serve if elected," when denying his interest in a presidential bid. After taking command of the Army of the Tennessee, this man led an 1864 campaign that captured Savannah. For 10 points, what Union general led a march to the sea? Sweetwater.
Sherman.
Correct. Bonus. Children were sacrificed to both the Mixtec god Zwahi and the Aztec god Tlaloc as pleas for more of this phenomenon. For 10 points each, name this meteorological phenomenon often sought by farmers to nourish their crops.
Wave rain.
Correct. Tohil and Chok were rain gods in the pantheon of these people, many of whose myths were collected in the Popol Vuh.
Mayans. Wave for the player 5.
Mayans.
Correct. The Incan god Ilyaps provides rain from a jar containing this entity. In a Chinese folklore, the weaver girl and the cowherd were banished to opposite sides of a silver river representing it.
The afterlife?
Just see the afterlife.
Wave the afterlife.
Milky Way galaxy, 20 points. Toss-up. This type of title structure divides a man who is all pine from one who is all apple orchard in a Robert Frost poem. Checkpoint Charlie was used to cross one of these during the Cold War. For 10 points, what type of structure, which was built in 1961, split East and West Berlin? Sweetwater.
Wall.
Correct. Bonus. For 10 points each, answer the following about anesthetics. Laughing gas is an anesthetic consisting of 2 atoms of nitrogen bound to an atom of this element.
Oxygen. Wave oxygen.
Correct. The diethyl type of these organic compounds was historically used as an anesthetic. These organic compounds contain an oxygen atom bonded to 2 R groups.
2 R groups. That's not okay. Wave for player 5.
Anesthesia.
Ethers. This noble gas with atomic symbol Xe has shown potential as a relatively safe anesthetic.
Wave for the player 2.
Xenon.
Correct. 20 points. Toss-up. One composer with this last name intended for the audience to stomp their feet to the rhythm of his Radetzky March. Another composer with this surname wrote a waltz about the river that flows through Vienna. For 10 points, what was the surname of Johann who wrote Sweetwater?
Bach.
Incorrect.
Please repeat the question.
One composer with this last name intended for the audience to stomp their feet to the rhythm of his Radetzky March. Another composer with this surname wrote a waltz about the river that flows through Vienna. For 10 points, what was the surname of Johann who wrote the Blue Danube Waltz? Montgomery.
Strauss.
Correct. Bonus. This character asks, do any human beings ever realize life when they live it? For 10 points each, name this character who marries George Gibbs in a play that also features a stage manager.
Anything? Kevin?
Emily Webb. Emily Webb revisits her 12th birthday in this play, which is set in the community of Grover's Corners.
Play. Anything? Les Mis.
Our town. This author of the novel The Bridge of San Luis Rey wrote Our Town.
Stephen King. No answer.
Thornton Wilder, 0 points. Toss up. Pencil and paper ready. Ronald needs to find the sum of the logarithm of 4 plus the logarithm of 1/4. By applying a logarithmic identity, or realizing that 1/4 equals 4 raised to the -1 power, he computes for 10 points what value of log 4 plus log 1/4. Zero. Toss up. This American author wrote a play inspired by Euripides' Hippolytus, in which Eben Cabot impregnates his stepmother. Another play by this author depicts morphine addiction of Mary Tyrone. For 10 points, what Nobel laureate wrote Desire Under the Elms and Long Day's Journey in Sweetwater?
O'Neill.
Correct. Bonus. Siraj Uddaula held prisoners of war in this city after the fall of Fort William. For 10 points each, name this city in modern-day India that was the site of a cramped prison nicknamed its Black Hole in 1756.
Indian prison in 1776. Yes, the prison name. Okay, we have no answer.
Calcutta. The prisoners held in the Black Hole of Calcutta were from this country, whose colonial rule in India was also known as the Raj.
England? Yeah, wave England.
Correct. Siraj Uddaula was defeated by Robert Clive at this 1757 battle of the 7 Years' War, which consolidated the British East India Company's control of Bengal.
This battle? Battle. Wave, no answer.
Battle of Plassey, 10 points. Toss up. After this man was captured by Leopold V, he proclaimed that he recognized no superior but God. At the Battle of Jaffa, he defeated Ayyubid forces led by Saladin. For 10 points, what English king who fought in the Third Crusade was nicknamed the Lion-Hearted? Sweetwater.
Richard.
Correct. Bonus. For 10 points each, answer the following about complex numbers. This letter is most commonly used to denote the imaginary unit. This value equals...
Wave, defer to player 1.
I.
Correct. This theorem states that every non-constant polynomial has at least one root in the complex numbers.
One root in a complex number. Theorem. Wave, no answer.
The fundamental theorem of algebra. What is the value of I to the 11th power?
No answer.
Negative I. 10 points. Toss up. Ionic examples of these substances follow the Debye-Huckel equation, while their ideal variants obey Raoult's law. Their concentration can be measured using normality, molarity, or molality. For 10 points each, name this kind of homogeneous mixture that contains a solute and a solvent. Sweetwater.
Solution.
Correct. Bonus. This city was sacked by the Celtic forces of Brennus after he won the Battle of the Allia. For 10 points each, name this city which was later sacked by the Alaric and the Gaiseric. It was the capital of Augustus's empire.
Rome. Wave Rome.
Correct. Alaric led a tribe of these Germanic people, whose western tribes had the prefix Visi in their name.
Visigoth. Wave, defer to player 5.
Visigoths.
Correct. Gaiseric led this Germanic tribe. Sacking Rome led their name to become a modern word for a crime.
Wave, no answer.
Vandals, 20 points. Toss up. During the 1980s, the U.S. shot down aircraft from this country above the Gulf of Sidra. In 2011, the Battle of Sirte in this country resulted in the death of Muammar Gaddafi. Sweetwater.
Libya.
Correct. Bonus. This character flings a tureen of hot applesauce at Edgar Linton, who had mocked this character's long hair. For 10 points each, name this romantic hero who falls in love with Catherine Earnshaw.
Earnshaw. Yeah, character. Character Catherine Earnshaw. No answer.
Heathcliff. Heathcliff continues to love Catherine even after her death in this 1847 novel.
1847?
Yeah. Wave, no answer.
Wuthering Heights. Wuthering Heights was the only novel that this
Bronte.
author published before her
Emily
own death
Bronte.
at the age of 30.
Wave, Emily Bronte.
Correct. 10 points. Toss-up. In a book by this author, the unnamed narrator pleads with his mother to kiss him goodnight. An involuntary memory is prompted by a tea-soaked Madeline in Swan's Way, the first section of a multi-volume work by this author. For 10 points, what Frenchman wrote Remembrance of Things Past? Proust. Toss-up. Brown adipose tissue contains large numbers of this organelle with high concentrations of the protein thermogenin. This organelle has folds called cristae that are the site of the electron transport chain. For 10... Sweetwater?
Mitochondria.
Correct. Bonus. Margaret Bryan Davis used fossils of this substance to study how tree communities changed after the last ice age. For 10 points each, name the substance comprising grains that bear the male gametes of plants. In flowering plants, fertilization occurs when this substance is transferred to the pistil.
Pollen. Wave pollen.
Correct. Among flowering plants, pollen originates on this structure found at the tip of the stamen.
Wave, defer to player 5.
No answer.
Anther. Orchids are unusually pollinated by males of these insects, which are thought to be threatened by pesticides called
Bees.
neonicotinoids.
Wave, defer to player 2.
Bees.
Correct. 20 points. Toss-up. After Alexander Whitaker baptized this woman, she took the name Rebecca. In a letter to... Sweetwater.
Pocahontas.
Correct.
Coincidences can be
Bonus. In October 2017, Stephen Paddock committed the deadliest shooting by a single person in U.S. history. For 10 points each, Paddock fired on concertgoers from the 32nd floor of the
Las
Mandalay
Vegas,
Bay
Nevada.
Hotel and Casino in this city.
Las Vegas. Wave, Las Vegas.
Correct. The Las Vegas attack surpassed the death toll from the 2016 Pulse nightclub shooting in this city.
Orlando. Wave, defer to player 4.
Orlando?
Correct. Following the Las Vegas shooting, there was debate on banning this type of gun accessory used by Paddock, which uses the recoil of a semi-automatic weapon to turn it into a full automatic weapon.
Wave, defer to player 2.
Bomb stocks.
Correct. 30 points. Toss-up. This man gossips with villagers at an inn marked by a rubicund portrait of George III. After sleeping with the odd-looking personages playing at ninepins in the Catskills, he falls into a deep slumber. For 10 points, what Washington Irving character sleeps through the American Revolution? Rip Van Winkle. Toss-up. A sculpture by this artist includes an obelisk topped with a dove holding an olive twig. Another of his sculptures depicts a nun about to be stabbed with a spear wielded by an angel. For 10 points, what Italian sculpted the Fountain of the Four Rivers and the Ecstasy of Saint Teresa? Sweetwater.
Bernini?
Correct. Bonus. This man's educational work was financed by Julius Rosenwald, the head of Sears, Roebuck and Company. For 10 points each, name this founder of the Tuskegee Institute who wrote the book Up from Slavery.
Tuskegee Institute.
Just say Tuskegee.
Tuskegee Institute.
Du Bois or Washington?
Wave, defer to player 1.
Du Bois?
Incorrect. Booker Washington.
Oh.
Booker T. Washington.
Nice. Close.
Washington was one of the first students at Hampton University, a historically black school in this state.
Historical black school in the state. Wave, defer to player 2.
Mississippi.
Incorrect. Virginia. In this 1895 agreement, Washington specified that blacks should receive education and some rights in exchange for accepting that whites would control the South politically.
Nothing. Defer to player 1.
Separatism.
Atlanta Compromise, 0 points.
That's right.
All right, Montgomery, can you introduce the new players? Montgomery captain.
Okay, this is Bronze. He's a junior. He is, when he's not here, he coaches flag football at his middle school.
Okay, and Sweetwater captain, can you introduce the new players?
Yes, this is Luis. He is a cross-country god and math god. And he is one of the smartest students at our school.
Okay. Toss it. A device named for this man consists of a helical structure inside a hollow pipe and is used to raise water. Legend holds that this man found the volume of a crown by submerging it in water. For 10 points, what Greek supposedly... Sweetwater.
Archimedes.
Correct. Bonus. The National Assembly building in this country was designed by Jurgen Utzon. For 10 points each, name this Middle Eastern country whose massive Burgain oil fields were lit on fire by enemy soldiers in 1991.
Wave, defer to player 5.
Kuwait.
Correct. This neighboring country invaded Kuwait in 1990, thus sparking the first Gulf War.
Iraq. Wave, defer to player 5.
Iraq.
Correct. This 5-letter word names the currency used by Kuwait as well as several other countries in the Middle East and North Africa.
Rubies.
Nuts. Radar.
Wave, defer to player 5.
Dirham. I don't know.
Incorrect. Dinar. 20 points.
Dinar.
Toss up. The ratio of a diagonal length to a side length in a regular one of these shapes equals to the golden ratio. This shape has many diagonals as sides. The interior angle of this shape adds up to 540 degrees, so each one measures 108 degrees. For 10 points, give this term for a 5-sided polygon. Sweetwater.
Pentagon.
Correct. Bonus. This painting's companion piece depicts the charge of the Mamelukes. For 10 points each, name this painting in which a square lantern illuminates a firing squad aiming at a group of people, including a white-shirted man spreading his arms wide.
3rd of May. 3rd of May. 3rd of May. Yeah. Wave, 3rd of May.
Prompt.
The 3rd of May. Sorry.
Incorrect. The 3rd of May, 1808. The 3rd of May, 1808 is a work by this Spanish painter whose series of black paintings includes Saturn devouring his son.
Defer to player 1.
Goya.
Correct. Goya created nude and clothed paintings depicted this reclining woman, possibly
Venus.
modeled on Pepita Tudo.
Wave, Venus.
Incorrect. Maha. 10 points. Toss up. Aaron Sargent initially introduced this amendment, whose text is nearly identical to that of the 15th Amendment. The president of the Montgomery.
19th.
Correct. Bonus. Gravity is the restoring force that causes these systems to oscillate around an equilibrium point. For 10 points each, name these systems consisting of a bob suspended from a pivot, such as in a grandfather clock.
Wave, defer player 4.
Pendulum.
Correct. This quantity is the number of cycles a pendulum completes per unit time. It is the inverse of the period.
Number. Wave, 8.
Frequency. This French scientist suspended a pendulum from the dome of the Pantheon in Paris to demonstrate the rotation of the Earth.
Coulomb.
Incorrect. Léon Foucault. 10 points. Toss up. The speaker of this poem is thrilled by the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of a purple curtain. This poem is set on a night in bleak December. The speaker recalls his lost love, Lenore. For 10 points, Sweetwater.
Annabelle Lee.
Incorrect.
Please repeat the question.
The speaker of this poem is thrilled by the silken, sad, uncertain rustling of a purple curtain. This poem is set on a night in bleak December. The speaker recalls his lost love, Lenore, in, for 10 points, what poem by Edgar Allan Poe in which the word nevermore is said by the title bird? Montgomery?
The Raven.
Correct. Bonus. In this country's western Arakan region, the police and army are cracking down on insurgents, displacing the Rohingya people into Bangladesh. For 10 points each, name the Southeast Asian country.
Southeast. Isn't that Indonesia?
Indonesia.
Incorrect. Burma. Most Rohingya practice this monotheistic religion. Indonesia is home to over 200 million of its practitioners.
I think Islam.
Wave, Islam.
Correct. This civilian leader of Burma claimed that her government is protecting everyone, even the Rohingya. While under house arrest in 1991, she won the Nobel Peace Prize.
What was her name?
I'm gonna go with Malala Yousafzai.
Incorrect. Aung San. 10 points. Toss up. The objectives of this period, including educational reform, were stated in the Charter Oath. The end of the Boshin War signaled the start of this period. For 10 points, what period of mass industrialization in Japan began with the restoration of imperial rule? Sweetwater.
Meiji Restoration.
Correct. Bonus. For 10 points each, answer the following about portions of the U.S. known as belts. H.L. Mencken coined this term for the southeastern U.S. due to the strong influence of evangelical Christianity in the region.
Religion belt, so like Catholic belt. Wave, defer to player 1.
No answer.
The Bible Belt. The decline of the manufacturing and steel industries in the upper Midwest and Great Lakes region led them to be described as this belt.
Industrial belt.
Industrial belt. Wave, defer to player 2.
Industrial belt.
Incorrect. Rust Belt. This general term for the southern U.S. also names a collegiate athletic conference whose members include Coastal Carolina and the Appalachian State.
Southwestern belt. Oh, no. Southern belt.
Defer to player 5.
Western belt.
Sun Belt. 0 points.
Nice try.
Toss up. At the start of this period, there was a mass extinction in the Ediacaran biota. Its fossil record includes the first appearance of trilobites. The Ordovician followed this period of the first Paleozoic era. For 10 points, name this period in which a namesake explosion of life occurred. Montgomery.
Mesozoic.
Incorrect.
Please repeat.
Great. At the start of this period, there was a mass extinction in the Ediacaran biota. Its fossil record includes the first appearance of trilobites. The Ordovician followed this first period of the Paleozoic era. For 10 points, name this period in which a namesake explosion of life occurred. Sweetwater.
Paleozoic.
Incorrect. Cambrian. Toss up. At this European river's Big Bend, it is connected via a canal to the Don River. This river flows past the Samara and the Kazan and names a city that was once known as Stalingrad. The longest river in Europe is, for 10 points, what Russian river that Sweetwater.
Volga River.
Correct. Bonus. This mountain range is the site of the Wind Cave and Jewel Cave, which are among the world's longest cave systems. For 10 points each, name these Midwestern hills that contain Mount Rushmore.
The name? I didn't know the name.
Me neither, honestly. No answer.
Black Hills. The Black Hills are near this national park, which consists largely of distinctly eroded buttes and other rock formations, as well as expansive grasslands.
Yellowstone. Wave Yellowstone.
Incorrect. Badlands National Park. Both the Black Hills and the Badlands are largely within the western part of this U.S. state.
South Dakota.
I don't know.
Defer to player 1.
South Dakota.
Correct. 10 points. Toss up. This man was killed after being betrayed by brothel owner Anna Kumpanas, who was known as the Woman in Red. This man led the terror gang and in 1934 became the FBI's first public enemy #1. Montgomery.
Al Capone.
Incorrect.
Please repeat.
This man was killed after being betrayed by brothel owner Anna Kumpanas, who was known as the Woman in Red. This man led the terror gang and in 1934 became the FBI's first public enemy #1. For 10 points, name this bank robber who was gunned down outside a Chicago movie theater.
1934.
John Dillinger. Toss up. ADH deficiency can cause the central insipidus version of this disease. Metformin is used to treat the most common form of this disease, another form of which results from destruction of the pancreatic beta cells. For 10 points, name this disease characterized by high blood glucose. Montgomery.
Diabetes.
Correct. Bonus. During this government, the Freikorps were paramilitary groups that opposed the far left. For 10 points each, what German republic existed from 1919 until 1933 when it was dissolved by Adolf Hitler?
German Empire.
Defer to player 4.
German Empire.
Weimar Republic. The Weimar Republic emerged after Germany's defeat in this war.
World War One. No, World War One.
Wait. Okay. World War One.
Correct. In 1933, this president of the Weimar Republic and World War I hero appointed Hitler as chancellor.
Big name. German. Wave. Defer to player 4.
Von Kaiser.
Paul von Hindenburg. 10 points. Toss up. The artists Lorenzo De Credi and Pietro Perugino apprenticed in a workshop in this city owned by Andrea del Verrocchio. A member of this city's Gherardini family was seen without eyebrows in the Mona Lisa. For 10 points, in what city did artists flourish under the patronage of the Medicis? Montgomery.
Florence.
Correct. Bonus. Pencil and paper ready. For 10 points each, answer these questions about the number 29. What is 29 expressed in Roman numerals?
XXV3.
XXIV. In degrees, what is the measure of an angle that is complementary to a 29-degree angle? You have 5 seconds.
Defer to player 5.
151.
61 degrees. What is the value of 31 factorial divided by 29 factorial? You have 10 seconds.
Defer to player 2.
30.
930. 0 points. Toss up. This author wrote, "Done with the compass, done with the chart," in a poem beginning, "Wild nights, wild nights. The stillness in the room is compared to the stillness in the air," in this author's poem about an insect. For 10 points, what reclusive poet wrote, "I heard a fly buzz when I died"? Sweetwater.
Wolf.
Incorrect.
Please repeat the question.
This author wrote, "Done with the compass, done with the chart," in a poem beginning, "Wild nights, wild nights. The stillness in the room is compared to the stillness in the air," in this author's poem about an insect. For 10 points, what reclusive poet wrote, "I heard a fly buzz when I died"? Montgomery.
Franz Kafka.
Incorrect. Emily Dickinson. Toss up. One of these groups, named the Knights Templar, halted activities during a visit by Pope Benedict XVI. In Operation Fast and Furious, the ATF allowed guns to walk to these groups. El Chapo Guzman headed... Sweetwater?
Drug cartels.
Correct. Bonus. This person was also known as the Leather Apron. For 10 points each, name this mysterious figure who wrote the From Hell letter and whose identity is still unknown to this day.
Yeah. Zodiac Killer? Zodiac Killer.
Jack the Ripper.
Oh.
Jack the Ripper killed at least 5 women in this British city in the 1880s.
London? Yeah. Defer to player 2.
London.
Correct. Fanciful conspiracy theories claim the Ripper was Prince Albert Victor, the son of a British king with this name, the successor to Queen Victoria.
Victoria. George the Sixth.
George the 6th.
George the Sixth.
Wave, defer to player 5.
King George the Sixth.
Incorrect, Edward. 10 points.
Nice try.
Oh.
Okay. Okay, Sweetwater Captain, can you introduce the new player?
Yeah, this is Stephanie Mauricio. She is our Vice President and Public Relations Officer. She's in 2020, AIA, and Key Club at our school.
Okay. Toss up. For an object in uniform circular motion at speed v, this quantity equals v squared over the circle's radius. The slope of a velocity versus time graph gives this quantity. Sweetwater.
Acceleration.
Correct. Bonus. For 10 points each, answer the following about July 2017 events in Asia. On July 13th, Liu Xiaobo, a Nobel Prize winner from this country, died while on medical parole from prison.
China.
Wave, defer to player 5.
China.
Correct. On July 19th, the South Korean government announced a new holiday commemorating the comfort women abducted by the Japanese army during this war.
World War II.
World War II.
Wait. During the war, right?
Yes.
World War II.
Wave, defer to player 5.
World War II.
Correct. On July 18th, Turkish police arrested the regional director of this human rights organization, whose logo is a candle wrapped in barbed wire.
A candle wrapped in barbed wire. A logo.
That's an interesting logo.
I don't know, buddy. No answer.
Amnesty International. 20 points. Toss up. By testifying against this man, Noah Claypole receives a pardon. On the night before he is hanged, this man tells Mr. Brownlow where to find papers that prove the parentage of an orphan boy. For 10 points, name this elderly criminal who leads a gang of young pickpockets in Oliver Twist. Fagin. Toss up. This man collected some of his Gnostic thought in the book 7 Sermons to the Dead. This psychologist, who referred to meaningful coincidences using the term synchronicity, theorized the amina, animus, and other archetypes. For 10 points, name the Swiss psychoanalyst. Sweetwater.
Sigmund Freud.
Incorrect.
Please repeat the question.
This man collected some of his Gnostic thought in the book 7 Sermons to the Dead. This psychologist, who referred to meaningful coincidences using the term synchronicity, theorized the amina, animus, and other archetypes. For 10 points, name the Swiss psychoanalyst. Carl Jung. While serving in this country, the Spanish ambassador Bernardino de Mendoza, organized an uprising called the Day of the Barricades. This country's capital was said to be well worth a mass by a king who became Catholic in 1593. For 10 points, name this European country ruled by Henry IV. Montgomery?
The UK.
Incorrect.
Please repeat.
While serving in this country, the Spanish ambassador Bernardino de Mendoza organized an uprising called the Day of the Barricades. This country's capital was said to be well worth a mass by a king who became Catholic in 1593. For 10 points, name this European country ruled by Henry IV. Sweetwater.
France.
Correct. Bonus. For 10 points each, name these types of houses of worship. These churches often have transepts that cross their naves. They also have a throne for a bishop, and a Gothic one can be found in Salisbury.
Cathedral. Yes, cathedral. Yeah. Waived for the player 1.
Cathedral.
Correct. An indentation called a mihrab is usually built into these structures' Qibla walls to indicate the direction of Mecca.
Yes, mosque. Waived for the player 2.
Mosque.
Correct. One of these buildings in Prague, with a name meaning Old New, is the oldest active congregation in Europe. Their rituals require a minyan.
A minyan ritual.
A minion?
Synagogue, right?
Yeah.
Defer to player 1.
Synagogue.
Correct. 30 points.
And that is our match. Well played. It started out with a seesaw battle. I think the lead changed several times during the first half. Then all of a sudden, Sweetwater kind of started to build up a strong lead. Montgomery came back toward the end, just not quite enough to catch up. 460 to 125, our final score. Congratulations to Sweetwater. Congratulations to Montgomery for a well-played match. Congratulations to you for tuning in and watching. We hope you come back again next time for more Academic League right here on ITV. Students?